Hello guys, Inslayerclone here, friendly neighborhood incel, back again with another video, another outside video, you know, yep, you know, back again with the, you know, just outside at 8 o'clock in the park. I said, oh, I should do like, more videos in my house, but I just don't really like sitting in my house doing these videos and stuff. I think I feel more freer to do that outside than inside, you know. And yeah, like I said, I'm probably not going to do as much of these videos anymore anyway. I am probably going to do 3 or 4 more videos in the spring all time. Then I'm probably going to not even do any more like black pill videos. Maybe I would do one more. I have to do like a life as a 25-year-old incel, because I already done 23 and 24, I guess. So I have to do another one, I guess. So I have to reinstate those videos online as well. So I still unlisted on YouTube, you know. So all the strikes are gone now, so I can safely unlist them. I'll probably do in May sometime, like the first week of May. Just unlist all them videos that people want to watch anyway. You know, my fault for younger Inslayerclone. He thought that him having a small channel, I guess, wouldn't and not really being noticed by anyone on the internet, he would be protected by the AI. But I guess the AI systems have upgraded, and now can't talk about them stuff like that in that way. Even like the other video and stuff was that one I made, the one talking about adolescence. 10 years too late. I even got like a strike on that, but that was reinstated very fast. It was a mistake, but yeah, the AI system's very advanced, very advanced. So we got to tone it down now. We have to infiltrator mode, like the Terminator, I guess. So today I wanted to talk about do not be domesticated, right? Society wants men to be domesticated. So what is domestication? Well, I don't have the definition on me. I'm not on Google or whatever. Well, the definition for domestication, I guess, it is tamed or kept as a pet or on a farm or whatever, or for home life or homework, whatever. You know, that's what the internet says, right? Google says what domestication is. Society want men to domesticate it, and last couple of weeks actually, last I said this week, I guess, I've been very interested in The Last of Us for some reason. I mean, I like the original game from 2013, I guess. I mean, I don't in 2025 now, Last of Us. Well, like I said, I can't remember because I lost sidetrack. But yeah, I've been like watching lots of Last of Us. I like the original 2013 game. Playing it now in 2025 with the Last of Us Part 2 and the television show. You know, when I say the original game is good, not really and stuff. Maybe because at that time and stuff, you didn't really have like those like storyline type games and stuff where it's like a cinematic movie and stuff like that. Last of Us was kind of the original. I guess there's other games out there like Heavenly Sword and stuff, and maybe God of War 3. I would say more for Heavenly Sword and stuff like that was more of like a cinematic movie and stuff. And what else was there? I guess the Call of Duty games in some form, like a cinematic movie and stuff. But Last of Us was like the really like one of the first cinematic movie games that you you get interested. It's not just like a game. It's kind of like a movie and stuff, a cinematic movie and stuff like that. Some people liked it, some people didn't like it. I guess. I mean, it's because if you look at it from a logical perspective, Last of Us is just a watered down version of Manhunt and Resident Evil 4 and stuff. If you look at it from a gameplay perspective, it's just a watered down version of Manhunt or Resident Evil 4 or like you know, and crafting systems of from yeah, I guess from Resident Evil 4, I guess you have some form of crafting system in Resident Evil 4 as well, and then Dead Space. But yeah, it's just a watered down version of those games and stuff like that. But what difference from those games is the storyline is kind of like cinematic and stuff. You play as this old man and stuff that lost his daughter in the apocalypse, I guess, beginning of the apocalypse, and you play 20 years in the future and stuff. Him fighting in like zombie, and he has to escort this girl from this place to Salt Lake City and stuff. You know, I can't remember. Is it Boston to Salt Lake City? You know. So you're traveling with these like two characters. Well, originally three, then the other one gets killed, and traveling with these two characters from Boston to all the way to Salt Lake City and stuff, and you get like connected and stuff like that. You get emotional attachment because you know this this girl kind of looks like his daughter that was killed and stuff. Well, it didn't look like his daughter, but it's kind of reminding him of his daughter, I guess, that was killed years ago, I guess. So, and it pretty much at the end of the game it becomes pretty much his daughter and stuff. So, and that's why he does what he does in the end of the game, you know. So it's from like a story perspective, it's pretty basic. It's no different than other game movies and stuff like that. Play like watch like you know what's that film? Like what's that one from Vietnam and stuff like that when US that Vietnamese woman was getting tortured and stuff by US GIs and stuff, or that movie from like you know Arnold Schwarzenegger from like 1999 where Arnold Schwarzenegger has to protect this woman that is trying to be sacrificed by this cultist, you know, by Satan and the cultist, you know, to stop like the apocalypse from happening. He has to like protect this girl from being sacrificed and stuff, you know, and kind of like you know, it's the kind of same concept that The Last of Us is, I guess, you know. You know, this older gentleman has to protect this young teenage girl, maybe early 20-year-old girl from some evil cult, whatever, or zombies, whatever, you know, and stuff like that. I mean, it's another film I think Denzel Washington as well from like 2004. He has to protect this other girl and stuff from kidnappers and stuff. So you know, like I said, Last of Us itself, it's not really like a new topic. It's not new, but I guess it's never been done in video game format, and Last of Us was the first game to do it in that way, I guess. Now you got many other games that are doing this type of content, I guess, like stuff like that. So it's now become like same old, I guess, you know. But what is the term? But before then, Joel, before when he lost his daughter and stuff, Joel was domesticated in some form. He still had like what I call trust in the system, trust in people and stuff like that. You know, trust in like the government, you know, trust in all that. But but what happened, right? That government took away his only took something precious from him, which is his daughter, right? They formed all the soldier just followed the orders, and they didn't give him a second chance. They didn't give him any chance whatsoever, and that's what happened. And this is why he lost all trust in anything, and that's why he was doing what he was doing now. So, and that's why he became undomesticated, you know. And this is what society wants men to be. They want men just to just take it up their ass and shit, and don't freaking resist. You know, saying. I mean, then again, Joel was unarmed as well. That's the difference as well. He was not. He didn't have a gun as well. I mean, he only had his daughter and stuff in his arms and stuff because his leg was kind of broken a little bit. He had his daughter in his arms and stuff, and he was unarmed. So this is why, in the first game especially, Joel was doing. That's why he was like kind of like a crazy man, madman, I guess, and doing like he didn't really trust so much people. Even when like you know with Sam and Max, I think. Yeah, Sam and the other guy, I can't remember his name. I think it's Max or something. The two black dudes, black boy and the men, whatever. The two brothers and stuff. He was even ready to annihilate him, but he didn't do it. So, but after that, once he saved Ellie and stuff, he became domesticated again, and that's how he became. That's how he got tricked into getting Famous by Abby, and that's how she got him that way. Even though Last of Us 2 doesn't really make much sense and stuff, because in a snowstorm, why would Joel be outside anyway? You know, I understand that they're trying to protect the Jackson and all that and stuff like that, but the story doesn't really, in the beginning, doesn't really make sense. It's just there just so they can kill off Joel and stuff, and they can make the story what they wanted to do, because and stuff like that. It would be make more sense that if Abby came to Jackson and stuff, and you know, there was this, like a zombie horde comes out, then like Abby kind of kills Joel that way. It would probably make more sense than, or you just find him randomly just in the wilderness with Tommy and stuff like that. It doesn't really make any sense, because that's like a 1 in a million chance of happening in an apocalypse event. Most likely it will probably be a group of people as well. It won't just be like, oh, just two motherfuckers, just wandering around and stuff like that. This is why I assume anyway, right? I know Joe and Tommy are very capable fighting age males and stuff like that in their 40s and 50s, but I wouldn't think that Joe and Tommy would have just gone out like that with like at least like 3 or 4 people with them, right? Especially in a snowstorm. I mean, it's a lot of people in Jackson anyway, so it doesn't make any sense. That's pretty much what I'm trying to say, logically what they did that day. It makes no logical sense that Joe and Tommy would have gone out in that way with only both of them, no one else. I mean, technically they did go with like um, Abby and Jesse and Dina, but there'll probably be at least like 20 people, maybe 30 maximum, scouting out the perimeter in a snowstorm. So yeah, that's what I just thought about, and I feel like the writing was just terrible. I think Neil Druckmann he's just a terrible story designer. I could probably make a better story and getting Joel getting killed. Maybe not like in a heroic way, very, very like very fast. Very like how can you call it? Not very fast, but not in a heroic way, but like in a way that would make more sense. If Abby killed him. Let's just say, I don't know. Like I said, the zombie apocalypse, zombies come into the Jackson and attack everyone, right? And Joel and Ellie, maybe Tommy went with this group and stuff, and they're looking for someone and something, and that would make more sense than what happened, in like where you see in Last of Us. Oh, this Joel randomly just pops out and he gets hit in the golf club and stuff, I'm getting pretty sidetracked just talking about Joel, and the Last of Us and stuff like that. But what I'm trying to say, guys, like, because Joel became domesticated in some form and stuff, he became more easily controllable, easily way of like taken down, you know, and that's what they want, And like I said, it's kind of that whole saying, isn't it? You can't be comfortable. If you start to feel comfortable, that's when the hell starts coming out. You have to always be uncomfortable, isn't it? And in life, unfortunately, that's how this life works. You're only comfortable when when you're not here anymore and stuff. Unfortunately, that's how it works. So technically, Joel now he's pretty comfortable now. He doesn't have to deal with all the nonsense anymore. But like I said, you're not comfortable when you're alive and stuff. And I guess I would do the same thing. I was in Joe's situations, not because of like not only just with like oh well, I know this person, I got attached with this person and stuff, but also just reality, just understanding human nature itself. I mean, human nature is very corrupted. Doesn't matter how you look at it. People will say one thing and they'll do the absolute opposite. So they'll say one thing about, oh well, we are caring, loving people and stuff like that and stuff, but they'll do the exactly opposite. You know. I mean, that's this other today. I guess I was watching like a documentary and stuff about like these British people and stuff. Trying to do what the like refugees do when they travel to like United Kingdom or Europe or America or whatever. They like did like an entire document, did like an entire series where they took like mostly white English people and they took this Indian like Pakistan woman as well, and they put her like in like Iraq and stuff and Somalia and stuff, and they have to travel back to the United Kingdom, like how the refugees do, you know. And I'm not trying to say that understandable that these people are suffering and all that but stuff, but at the end of the day and stuff, you're gonna protect your own first. You have to put your own people first, and that's how life is. Unfortunately, we don't live in this idea of this utopian vision that leftists like to want. Oh well, everyone wants to have the same values and have the same ways of thinking. No, human beings are very complex creatures. We're very like emotionally driven, right? And it's just like even like with like you don't even like to talk about skin tone or whatever. Just like in white versus white, we say white people versus white people. Look at in Ukraine, right, and stuff. Ukrainians believe, in the West and stuff, that Ukraine has the right to exist, and that's why we're given all our billions upon billions of dollars and stuff, because we ideologically believe that every single country, has the right to have autonomy, in the Western Hemisphere, right? Which is like technically Ukraine's a white on white war and stuff, and because mostly white people are dying in Ukraine and in Russia and stuff. Yeah, there are some like Africans and stuff like that, and some Latin Americans and stuff. But for the most part, it's a white on white war, right? But at the end of the day and stuff, you're gonna protect your own genetics first before protecting others, and that's what you're seeing, and that's why you see more Europeans are more comfortable having like Ukrainians in the country compared to like Africans and Middle Easterns and stuff like that, because they have a similar shared history and culture and stuff, and that's what it is. I mean, many Europeans have a similar culture. I mean, I myself, I'm actually learning Greek currently, and some of the words and phrases are similar to English. So that's why it's more understandable to have like Ukrainians coming to the country than like Middle Easterners coming to the country and stuff, because it's shared culture there. I'm not saying there isn't a shared culture between Middle Easterners and British people, but it's going to be harder for them because most of them are Islamic, right? And most British people are Christian, you know. So that's what it is, And I'm not trying to say that we shouldn't protect everyone. All human suffering should end, but that's never going to happen, unfortunately, because throughout the history of humanity, before like cavemen, even the caveman era, we've been fighting each other for many thousands of years, so it's never going to end. So this utopian vision, oh well, we just need to stop these wars and stuff like that. I'm more faithful for stopping these wars, but you can't really do that and stuff, because if the wars stop and stuff like that, they're gonna lose their jobs, lose their money and stuff. There's gonna be a lot of businesses gonna be going bust. That profits on war economy. Like even like not even none like the military industrial complex. Like even like people that just sell body armor and tactical gear, they will go out of business because we have all this tactical gear now. No one's using them anymore, right? They're not using the flashlights anymore, for weapons attachments and guns anymore. So we don't need them. They're all going to go out of business. So the wars have to continue, unfortunately. Some people have to suffer for other people's to profit on. That's how it works, And that's how the world works, unfortunately. But, so all I say in this channel, if you're black pilled, this idea of oh well, you need to be like profitable, like you need to be like this working class individual, not working class. You need to have like loyalty to a race or a culture or to a land. They need to do that. In fact, far from it. What you should be doing is like looking. If you're like, let's just say there's probably a third world black pillar that's watching my channel. If you're in this situation, you know what, do what those migrants do and stuff. Try and survive it. right? You don't have to go to United Kingdom, of course. There's many other westernized European countries that you can just stay and stuff and make some money and stuff like that, right? And stuff like that, stuff like that, and try and get out. But at the end of the day and stuff, just care about yourself. Don't care about these other people and stuff like that. Don't try like what's the term? Like, oh well, I care about my culture and stuff. I have to preserve the, let's just say, a brown Middle Eastern person. I need to preserve, Islam and all that. All that is nonsense, right? All of that, oh well, cultural tradition and stuff, purity and all that. It's all nonsense, mate. I mean, there's one video on the internet that the actor, the film producer, Kieran Tarantino. I think you probably heard of him, right? This like Muslim women and stuff, like can you sign my legs, sign my foot, so he pretty much Tarantino just signs like signatures of foot on the thing. So you think Muslim women are like traditionalists as well? No, absolutely far from it. In fact, because women's at the end of the day and stuff don't really care about what's the term? They don't really care about culture and history and a line on a map. They go where they're best treated at, you know, and that's what you need to understand and stuff like that. I don't know about women's in Afghanistan. I don't know about women's in Iran and stuff like that. Or I know that when you see Muslim women, dressing up in the hijab and stuff like that, that's just like no different than the goth girl. Like, oh, I'm a goth girl. This is my culture. This is my thing. Right? This is what we do and stuff. It's no difference, man. That's the way it is, man. Once you understand, it's no difference, man. Once you start to really understand the psychological makeup of anything, you know, or then you, like Muslim man, I feel Muslim man watching this, you are fighting. Oh well, like this is what Allah says, and this, that, none of that. It's all nonsense, guys. Right? It's all there just to keep you enslaved. I already talked about this in my No Mercy video about the higher ups of the religion and stuff. They use religion to do. The peasants, the Ufidifis, they do all the slave work. The Ufidifi Islamist people do all the slave work. By them, the higher ups, the elitists, they get to do whatever the hell they want. And I know that video is very controversial because I did defend, the controversial video game, No Mercy. I myself, I don't play that game. I've never played it before, but I still believe that it should have the right to exist, And I have an open mind and stuff, right? Which people should have an open mind on anything they should talk about. Should this? Oh well, no, this game is condemning violence, but that could. No, I'm not going to continue talking about No Mercy and stuff. Because at the end of the day, the same people that talk about No Mercy are fans of Grand Theft Auto. But then someone said, oh, well, you have an option to do evil, but the whole purpose of Grand Theft Auto is do illegal things anyway. So technically, it doesn't even matter about you can like kill police officers. You can have a choice to not to kill police officers or kill people and stuff. It doesn't matter because if you play the main game of Grand Theft Auto, you're doing the criminal things anyway. If you play the main storyline and you play the main characters and stuff, you're doing illegal criminal things anyway. There's one mission, you have to torture people in Grand Theft Auto 5, so it's not an excuse, people, because like I said, people have an emotional attachment for Grand Theft Auto compared to No Mercy, which is some adult indie game that some dude created and stuff with Dash 3D. But that's how much I'm going to continue talking about it because I've already talked about No Mercy and stuff. So anyway, getting back onto topic and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, do not be domesticated, and this is a good term. Even I am somewhat domesticated myself for many years and stuff, and I'm trying to undomesticate myself and stuff like that, right? Even when I don't like to go outside, where I want to stay indoors, or that I try and force myself to go outside and be uncomfortable sometimes. Because at the end of the day and stuff, it's easy to sit down and watch television all day, right? And complain how shitty life is. It's harder to actually start to stay by your word that I'm gonna, I don't know, go outside and sit on a bench, and talk about nothing. Could just do absolutely nothing on the bench, or or like do something that you've never done before, like coding or something. I mean, I do coding, but something that you're completely alien towards. It's way a lot harder to do that, and that's pretty much what I'm trying to say. So all I'm trying to say, guys, do not be domesticated like Joel did, because what happened to Joel, he paid in the end being domesticated. Like I said, the storyline doesn't really add up, but domestication is the downfall for most men in life. I understand why men become domesticated, because maybe they get married, they have children and stuff like that, so they become more softer and stuff, more like tolerant, I mean, depending on the situation, I guess. If it's like a father trying to protect his son/daughter, mostly his daughter and stuff, he's probably going to be more he's probably going to be more vicious and anger and stuff like that, compared to like a dude that doesn't have nothing to lose and stuff like that, and everything to gain. I would say, like a man that has nothing to lose but everything to gain is far more dangerous than some dad trying to protect his daughter from some kidnappers or something like that, like you see Last of Us and stuff, because like I said, when Joel didn't have Ellie around, he was very vicious and very like unforgiving, so, but yeah, I guess that's what it is, but yeah, Joel became domesticated, he became like softened, right, once he got back to Jackson. He's been living a comfortable life. I guess technically he was already dead at that point anyway, because, well, he has Ellie and stuff, and yeah, I'm living in Jackson now and just relaxing and stuff. If someone kills me, it is what it is, I guess. I guess that's what Joel was thinking when he was killed, I guess, at the end. Well, this was going to happen eventually, I guess. Someone was going to kill me, especially after the Salt Lake incident. So, you know, it is what it is. I should put a spoiler alert, I guess, but I'm pretty sure most people have played Last of Us at this point in time. Anyway, so it's been out for 10 years now, so. But yeah, I mean, you know, that's life, I guess. I mean, if someone wants to come after me and stuff for something I did in the past, which I don't know who would come after me, but there are people out there that just for like insults from like, I don't know, from 10 years ago, maybe even 20 years ago, that would come after me, There's definitely people that I would like to have a word with from like 10 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, that I would like to ask, why did you do that to me? But, probably never going to have that question myself, so, just have to accept it and just have to move on, I guess, It's easy said than done, because like I said before, human beings are very emotional, irrational. They like to say they're rational, but they're very irrational, We like to say that we are like more logical people, but we're not, It's just like, going back to like the Islamic thing, I guess. Muslim women, like, there's no much difference, like I said, with the goth girls or the emo girls, geek stuff girls. The only difference is that they're just doing it with the Islam, with their head ties and the hijabs and the burqas, and that's what they're doing. There's not much difference with like the freaking emo girls and all that. You have to realize something, right? All this is just artistry and stuff like that. And I'm not trying to say that, oh well, you can't compare like a religious like tradition to goth and emo, but reality is women's, if like I said, if like I said, I think I said this in my other videos, if Jesus Christ or Arab Muhammad come down from the skies and stuff and said, oh, this is all fake, people would just say, oh no, well, the women say, oh well, I don't have to do this anymore, I'm just going to do whatever the hell I want, because what it's all about, what all these things are all about. You've been taught by birth to saying this is all right to do because that's what my dad said to do. This is what my mum said to do and stuff or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to go back to that and stuff, you know. But anyway, I think I've been ranting, talking for 30 minutes, I guess. Another 30 minutes cope video, I guess, you know, from the Inslayerclone, I guess. And yeah, just don't be domesticated. That's pretty much trying to say in this video. Because domestication is the reason why most men are, especially in this like lower class working, because they say you have to do this. It's just like, you know, I talked about Megatron, right? Megatron believed or D16, I guess. He was not Megatron before turning into D16. D16 believed in the ideas of what Sentinel was saying, but Sentinel was just corrupt and he was just doing it whatever the hell he wants. You know, he believed in the idea of the system, but the system's there just to keep people enslaved. You know, I can't remember the race that Sentinel Prime was given, but he believed that. So Megatron domesticated himself, but once he realized it was all a lie, that's why he undomesticated himself. So anyway, guys, I just want to get out. I want to end it here and stuff, you know. So you know what I've said, you know, and let me know in the comment section if you agree with me or not. If you agree that you should not be domesticated, you should be vicious in some form. Maybe not like vicious like you see in like caveman era, but like vicious in the point that you're not gonna like, you know, oh well, I'm gonna do this because of because that's what they say to do. No, I'm gonna do something my own self. I'm gonna preserve my rules and regulations and my own way of things, you know, than just follow the system's way of things, you know. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about it and subscribe.